NASCAR has had its lowest TV rating in 2023 in years, and it does seem like the sport is in a bad spot now in terms of popularity. Should it continue like this, the future looks bleak for a dying motorsport, and something urgently needs to be done to save it. Will it be done, or will the rising popularity of Formula One and other motorsports be the downfall of NASCAR? The 75th season of NASCAR racing was a season that was anticipated to be monumental and showcase the progress of NASCAR, continuing the growth observed in the previous season. However, this hasn't been the case. The major storyline this season, off the track in many ways, revolved around the fact that fewer people are turning in to watch on-track content. This has perplexed many, especially considering that NASCAR's ratings reached a 5-year high last season. Instead of a positive trend, we are witnessing a continuous decline in ratings week after week. While individuals offer various reasons for the decline in NASCAR's ratings in 2023, I believe these explanations don't paint the complete picture. In the years between 2018 and 2022, ratings were relatively consistent, ranging from about 2.9 million to 3.3 million viewers. However, this year, there's a notable drop of 9.5%. Last year's average of 3 million viewers per race is contrasted by the current projection of 2.72 million if the downward trend persists. Examining the specific races, we observe significant declines, such as 15% for the Clash, 8% for Daytona, 12% for Auto Club, 15% for Vegas, and 15% for Phoenix and Atlanta. Bristol Dirt recently saw a 14% decrease. This contrasts with 2022, which experienced a substantial viewership increase before tapering off towards the end of the season. The introduction of the next-gen car brought intrigue and good storylines, with drivers like Ross Chastain adding excitement. While some attribute the decline to gimmicks, NASCAR's schedule has remained largely unchanged since 2017. One noteworthy factor that stands out is the absence of Chase Elliott, NASCAR's most popular driver. The impact of his absence on the ratings cannot be underestimated, as his influence is evident in the enthusiastic cheers from fans whenever he leads. Chase Elliott's absence from Las Vegas to the current date may be a significant contributor to the decline, although there is a possibility of his return soon. The decline in viewership for NASCAR races were more pronounced in the later events compared to the starting races, such as Daytona and Auto Club, which saw decreases of 8% and 5% respectively. However, since then, every race has experienced a decline of 12% or more. The absence of Chase Elliott, a driver with a significant fan following, played a substantial role in this downturn. Even for non-Chase Elliott fans, the races felt different without him on the field, highlighting the impact a favorite driver's absence can have on the overall viewing experience. Another factor contributing to the decline in viewership is the general trend of fewer people watching traditional television. This decline in cable subscriptions, down 10% from 5 years ago, suggests that some individuals who have moved away from basic cable or traditional TV may not be tuning in to watch NASCAR races. The overall decrease in cable subscriptions could count for a portion of the decline in NASCAR viewership, especially if the audience accessible through cable has reduced by 10 to 15%. Furthermore, the argument that the aging demographic of TV viewers may be a significant factor has been put forth. As of 2022, the average TV viewer is reported to be 75 years or older, watching about 5 hours of TV per day. In contrast, individuals in the 20 to 25 age group, like the author, watch TV less frequently, less than 2 hours per day on basic television, due to alternative entertainment options such as YouTube and TikTok. While the changing TV viewership landscape may contribute to the decline, it may not be the sole or predominant reason, as the older demographic still constitutes a significant portion of TV viewership. The role of demographics in the overall decline in NASCAR ratings will be discussed further. In 2017, the average age of NASCAR viewers was 58, showing an increase of 9 years from 2006, when the average age was 49. So, the NFL, catering to a younger and diverse audience, has an average viewer age of around 48 to 50. NASCAR's key demographic percentage on TV falls between 18 and 23%, whereas F1 and NBA have demographics around 40 to 45%, indicating a stronger appeal to Gen Z and younger millennials. The aging demographic of NASCAR viewers raises concerns, as an older base view could lead to a quicker decline in viewership over time. The reality is that no other major professional sports league, except golf, has an older viewer base than NASCAR. While golf may be doing well, the desire is likely for it not to remain in this demographic pattern indefinitely. It does feel like NASCAR is no longer culturally relevant. especially to a younger audience. The lack of cultural relevance may explain the decline in viewership among the younger demographic. While diehard fans might continue watching, attracting new and younger fans is essential for sustained growth. Streaming numbers are integrated into NASCAR ratings, which does eliminate the possibility of using streaming as an excuse for the decline in viewership. While streaming services like YouTube TV or Peacock report their numbers to Nielsen and contribute to the total audience, it appears that demographics may play a significant role in the current scenario. The outdated nature of the current NASCAR broadcast on Fox and NBC is compared to the F1 effect, where Formula One's modernization has contributed to its surging popularity, particularly among the key demographic in America. The debate over the number of commercials and the outdated broadcast model are highlighted as potential factors contributing to NASCAR's decline. Formula One's commercial-free coverage is contrasted with NASCAR's approach, and the need for modernization and adaptation to new viewer habits is emphasized. Additionally, the absence of a viable streaming option for die-hard fans is mentioned, with the suggestion that a commercial-free streaming service could be an attractive alternative. Adapting to the changing landscape of viewer preferences, especially among younger audiences, is considered crucial for NASCAR's future success. The hope is that addressing these issues could reverse the trend seen in 2023 ratings and pave the way for a more promising future for NASCAR. Then we have to talk about the failed business model and why the teams are calling for a change. For most NASCAR teams, sponsorship dollars make up between 60 to 80% of their overall revenue. That means when a brand like Mars Incorporated, primarily through its M&M brand, decides to pull its millions of dollars in funding, JGR can no longer afford to re-sign a star driver like Kyle Busch unless it finds a new revenue source. For the majority of NASCAR teams, sponsorship dollars constitute a significant portion, ranging between 60 to 80% of their overall revenue. This means that when a major sponsor like Mars Incorporated, mainly through its M&M brand, decides to withdraw its substantial financial support, teams such as Joe Gibbs Racing or JGR face challenges in retaining star drivers like Kyle Busch unless alternative revenue sources are secured. This places NASCAR teams in a precarious situation, particularly when compared to other sports. Contrasting this with other sports, RFK, affiliated with the Fenway Sports Group, noted that sponsorship typically makes up only 8 to 12% of overall revenue for Major League Baseball teams, 17 to 18% for NHL teams, and around a quarter for English Premier League teams, even with jersey sponsorship. In these cases, revenue sharing, particularly from sources like TV rights fees, play a more substantial role. This is a significant departure from NASCAR, where sponsorship remains a critical element for teams to merely survive each season. Teams in NASCAR are seeking a change in the revenue-sharing dynamics, especially with the impending expiration of the current $8.2 billion TV deal after the 2024 season. The teams argue that NASCAR possesses sufficient financial resources to bolster their organizations to a level where sponsorship becomes less of a lifeline and more of a complementary element. However, there is a perception that NASCAR has been less responsive to those needs, leaving teams grappling with the challenges of heavy reliance on sponsorship to sustain their operations. The teams simply want a bigger slice of the pie and more revenue. But the NASCAR counteroffer made them angry, as instead of them offering the teams more money, they only slightly wanted to increase profit and cut their expenses. Polk said, "I don't think there's anybody in NASCAR leadership that I've spoken to directly who doesn't understand the team economic model is broken and needs some repair." Though he added there has yet to be a conversation with NASCAR chairman and CEO Jim France. Teams believe that this is no way to run a major league sport and refer to Liberty Media's Formula One model, the equivalent to the France family owning NASCAR. But in that series, teams receive 50% of Formula One revenues. In terms of how the $820 million per year in TV money is split, 10% goes straight to NASCAR, 65% goes to the tracks, which are mostly owned by NASCAR and SMI, like the Daytona 500, and 25% goes to race teams through the purse. This is exactly what the team owners are trying to change. Newmark called these conversations a pivotal moment and said it would have a monumental impact on the future of our sport. Our goal throughout the process is stability, longevity, and the idea of hopefully bringing a new paradigm to the sport which lifts all the stakeholders, Newmark said. The decline of NASCAR was a combination of ill-considered decisions, the implementation of a contrived playoff, poorly thought-out broadcasting contracts, and departing from unique and vulnerable venues for dull, unexciting ones. It didn't help that a hugely popular NASCAR driver underperformed, but that shouldn't have caused this much of a freefall. NASCAR can return to previous levels of popularity, maybe not on the verge of overtaking the NFL again, but at least back to a point where they have enough of a dedicated fan base to be a solid performer in ratings and ticket sales. Whether or not NASCAR will be saved is anyone's guess.